Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Mark Smith. I'm Group Managing Director of People2People here in Australia and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. It's Friday afternoon, 12:30, which means we're here live on YouTube, Facebook and LinkedIn with the People2People Employment Market Update, or as we're going to call it going forward, it's hashtag P2P Live is what we're going to be calling ourselves for this broadcast every Friday. And it's we're broadcasting today from Sydney, from our dedicated podcast room here in Jamison Street, and there's a lot going down in Sydney at the moment. You'd have to be under a rock not to know that we've got this Bondi cluster going on with COVID. And I think, Jacob, we've got a picture there. That's Bondi Beach there with everybody lining up to get to the drive-through testing there at Bondi. It's I think the testing numbers are good, but they could be better, I suppose, and a few more cases today. But the city is empty and we're going through a lockdown. That's Martin Place. There's hardly anybody around. I mean, it's... I thought we'd put this past us, but it's definitely still happening. Anyway, let's talk about something a little bit more uplifting than COVID. Today we'll go through our regular numbers section, where I'll be specifically talking about the single touch payroll and the information that comes from the ABS with single touch payroll. Then we'll be crossing to Brisbane, where Jamie has an opportunity to talk us about. Then we're going to Jess in Melbourne, where she'll be probably saying something along the lines of that, well, you can't be pointing the finger at us and our lockdowns down in Victoria now that you're up there in Sydney. But we'll get that whole Sydney-Melbourne rivalry going on. So if you've got any comments at all, we can see them live. So you can post them on Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube, and I should be able to see them right here in front of me, and we'll be able to respond to any of your questions in real time. So let's get into it then. Let's start with our regular numbers section, and we will talk through these numbers that come from single touch payroll. So this is quite unique, really. It's not unique, I shouldn't say that. It's new because the single touch payroll came into being in the last couple of years. So if we were talking about this 10 years ago, we wouldn't have any of this any of this data. And the data comes through the ATO, and then the ABS get a hold of it. And what we've got is we can see the number of people that are actually on the payroll as such each week, and the value of that payroll. So that's really quite some interesting information. So I thought I'd share that with you with last week's results that came through. So let's Jacob, if you want to put those up for me. So this is the first table, which is basically between the weeks ending the 22nd of May and the 5th of June, you can see that the payroll jobs, so the number of payroll people in work there, was decreased by 0.9% in this last week. So it'll be interesting to watch these numbers over the next couple of weeks regards to the lockdowns here in Sydney. I would suspect that the decreases in the last week were really about the lockdowns or the restrictions. Lockdowns is the wrong word in Victoria. You can also see that total wages paid decreased by 1.6%. So that probably reflects the number of hours that people are working as well. If we go to the next slide, we can see this in a graphical graphical format, the payroll jobs and the total wages. So you can see there from the beginning of 2020, the rise as the gradual increase as we came out of COVID, Christmas and January, and then as we bounced again as we've come up. I think the most interesting thing about this is that it has definitely flattened out, and we've got this dip happening in this last fortnight. So payroll jobs decreased by 0.9%. Compared to an increase of 0.4% in the previous fortnight. Total wages paid decreased by 1.6% compared to an increase of 0.4% in the previous fortnight as well. So there's definitely been some movement there. What about on a state-by-state basis? If we then flip to see those numbers there, thanks, Jacob, and you can see that payroll jobs, Victoria decreased by 2.1%, and that would relate to the restrictions. Tasmania 1.1% and ACT decreased by 1.1% in terms of jobs. And the total wages, Victoria decreased by 2.8% and Tasmania 2%. if you want to see that in a graphical format, you can see the next one. And so this is the percentage of change in payroll jobs in the fortnight. And you can see that Victoria, again, it's all to do with restrictions. So if we show you this next week, or the week after for New South Wales, we'll see that decrease there. Interesting that not the least change was in Northern Territory, Queensland, and South Australia. So some really interesting numbers that come through from that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cross to Queensland. We're going to Jamie Taylor up there, and we'll have a chat about his supply chain opportunity. Before we do that, and whilst we get all that set up, we've got a video from Pearl in our Perth office where she's recruiting for some weekend work, I think, for retail. So if you wanted to play that video for us, Jacob.
Hi, this is Pearl from P2P. I'm currently recruiting for a sales assistant for a retail store in Osborne Park, although you must also have the flexibility to work odd shift in Joondalup. These are Saturday and Sunday shifts, 5 hours per day, and you'll be paid approximately $33 per hour on Saturdays and $38 per hour on Sundays, plus commission on every sale. You must have previous sales experience and you must be motivated in working towards KPIs. If this sounds like you, please call me today on 6160-6202. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Pearl. Don't you? I love the sound of those suburbs in WA, Joondalup. That's there's some pretty cool ones. Right, let's get Jamie from Queensland online. G'day, Jamie. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Good, thank you.
Now it's been a while since we've chatted to you. I think because you've made the big move. You've gone north.
It'll be 4 weeks Sunday.
So is it 4 weeks that it's been since you've moved from New South Wales up to Queensland? Well, you're not alone. I think the net migration numbers in Queensland is definitely a flow from the south to the north. I wouldn't be surprised if it's simply because about the weather. Now, you can lie to me about what the weather is like in Queensland today. What is it like?
It is, in all honesty, it's a bit wet and cold today, but it's really the first day that it's kind of been like this for a while. So
of course it is. Otherwise, it's beautiful. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, it's always sunny and beautiful in Queensland.
Excellent. Rightio. So you've got an opportunity you want to talk to us about. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So I've got a great opportunity I'm recruiting at the moment. It's working as a supply chain business analyst for a global logistics company. The role is working really closely between operations, finance, and the customers. So they'll be responsible for generating and presenting various reports to both internal and external stakeholders. They'll also be working really closely with the operations team to try and really streamline processes and improve the systems that they've got in place. They'll be responsible for billing of the customers on a monthly basis and reviewing the P&L just to escalate any issues to finance if there are any. And they'll be part of different projects as well, which are all focused around continuous improvement. Initially, it is just a 2 to 3 month temporary assignment, but with genuine potential to become permanent for the right person. Based out in Redbank, just in the southwest of Brisbane, close to public transport though. So yeah, great opportunity for someone that's come from like a supply chain analyst type background, but also could also suit someone from like a commercial business analyst background with a experience within logistics. And
when's it starting? So how quick?
As soon as possible. Sorry. Yeah. So really, as soon as possible. This person's
okay.
Yeah.
And if we've got people watching from interstate, obviously they can't come from Sydney. But from I shouldn't be. Why am I even joking about that? That's terrible. It's probably too soon. But if they wanted to travel from interstate, is there any leeway in terms of moving?
I think there would be for this role, just because there is a permanent role there. So I mean, there will be a proper interview process, and they really want the right person long term. So I think for the right person, there's going to be a little bit of leeway there in terms of the start date. So. Yeah, definitely. Okay. If anyone's interstate with that experience and wanted to reach out, we'd love to connect with you.
Okay, and I can see that Jacob's already put the link to the opportunity in the comments there. So if anybody's got any questions or they'd like to get more detail and they wanted to chat to you, what would be the best number to get you on?
Best number to get me on is 0731180125.
That's a new number for you too. Yeah,
It is. I had to write it down. Yeah, I haven't memorised it.
What do you reckon is the biggest? What do you reckon is the biggest change then between, say, Sydney? Like, what have you noticed? Is there any remarkable difference between the Brisbane and Sydney market?
It's really just the pace, I think, is what I've noticed most. Like it's not the same pace, which is nice in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And we noticed a little bit of problems with the internet there, so maybe there's some internet differences as well. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Excellent. Rightio. Well, thanks, Jamie. Thanks for joining us again today.
Thanks, Mark.
Hopefully we'll have you back online again soon. And if anybody's got any questions about the supply chain opportunities in Queensland, jump on the phone to Jamie. And of course, he's worked for several years here in Sydney as well, so you can always connect with him about opportunity. Not so much opportunities, but what's the market like in Sydney. Right, yeah, thanks, Jamie. Let's now go down. Let's go down south of the border, and we'll let's hope we don't get into any sort of rivalries here. Whilst we bring up Jess Hickey from our Melbourne team. G'day, Jess. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm locked down. Well, I will be from 4 o'clock this afternoon, I think. So
I wish I could say I was sympathetic.
So, well, you guys in Melbourne, look, all hats off for you guys. I think you've had 4 lockdowns in the last 18 months. It's just amazing that you've done so well. But how is the market down there now?
It is hot, which is a
Wow.
really exciting thing to I guess talk about with both clients and candidates alike. I think we're very proud to be have bounced back. And been very resilient. But yeah, it is definitely a candidate short market. And also, there's lots and lots of opportunities available out there for standout candidates. So it's a really nice feeling, and it's so rewarding to be able to find people their dream roles. It's been really good.
Is it a universal rebound, do you think, in Melbourne? Like, is it across all industries and all geographies, so all the different all suburbs? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly have seen both our, suburban clients as well as the CBD clients experience growth in their headcount. So that's a really good sign. It's meant that, a lot of people have been able to change up their work relationships. So working from home, or finding an organisation closer to home, or lots of other different options for them, which has been really good. Which obviously translates into really long-term profitable opportunities for candidates and clients alike.
Yeah, great, fantastic. All right, well, you've got a specific job that you'd like to talk to us about today, yeah?
Yes, I do. So People2People are very proud to be partnering exclusively with an organisation called Christian Hansen. So Christian Hansen deal primarily within the food ingredients and food production industry. And they're actually on the lookout for an account manager within their cheese and test kits space. So this role will be reporting to the business manager of the cheese division. So your position as the account manager will be to further develop and strengthen those strong historical relationships that Christian Hansen has with its partners. So maximising those opportunities, a lot of relationship-driven account management. You'll obviously be the go-to person for the customers for sales, application, and providing those support around processes. So I guess in terms of who you are, we're really looking for someone who has a high degree of initiative and passion, is really technically sound within this space. So you definitely need to have experience in cheese application within a new product development, R&D, or operations and sales space. So, tertiary qualifications in food science or food technology is going to be highly favourable. And of course, just an ability to think outside the box. There is a bit of regional travel required as well, so some flexibility around that. But their head office is in Bayswater. So, if you are local to that as well, you'll be able to visit the office every day. And we are open to candidates from outside of Victoria as well.
My next question. Yeah, I was wondering whether even from Sydney.
Yeah, ideally from Sydney or South Australia if possible.
Right. Okay. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, definitely open to candidates from outside of Victoria as well. Yeah, they are an absolute industry leader in this space. So we're very proud to be partnering with them and yeah, I guess leading the recruit for this particular role. And we're very active in recruiting for the position. So if you are interested, do give me a call and we can look to set up an interview time for next week.
And what's the best number to catch you on?
03-9098-7439.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. Well, so there's your email address there and phone number on the screen. So if you do have any questions, it's such a fantastic opportunity and a great company that we're working with there and partnering with exclusively. So which is great. Rightio. Well, thanks, Jess. That's it's great to have you online. Hopefully, I'll be able to get to see you in person eventually in Melbourne over the next couple of months. But in the meantime, if you have any questions for Jess about the market or that role specifically, make sure you get in touch with her. Okay, let's move on then, and we'll have a quick look now at the results of last week's Twitter poll. So here is the big news last week was about superannuation. Superannuation is going from 9.5% to 10%. And we were wondering whether your take-home pay will go down with the change in super. That is that you're having to absorb that increase. This is a remarkable result. 40% say that their organisation is making the staff member absorb that result. So 306. Look, it's Twitter. It's Twitter poll. It's not statistically representative, but 365 Australian Twitter users voted in this, and 40% of 43.3% said yes. I'm amazed by that number, and it's very interesting to see what's going to happen, even because super will be changing again next year. So will that continue? And particularly with the increase or the pressure now on salaries. So what are we going to talk about this week? Well, of course, the biggest topic that we've got this week is the lockdown here in Sydney. Do you think Sydney should have gone into lockdown earlier this week? Probably a bit controversial. Yeah, go hard early on, or no, let's wait for more cases. So I've got 6 days on that one. Let's see what the results will be next week. Okay, well, that's it, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us today on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for P2P Live and our employment market update. We'll be back again next week at 12:30 with some more opportunities to talk about and the regular segments as well. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you then.